Hello, good evening, everyone. Hi, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Lovely to have lots of you with us for this online open day, or open evening, we should say, for the online drawing development year. My name's Fraser Scarf. I'm the head of education delivery at the Royal Drawing School, and I'm joined this evening by Amy Austin, who was a student on our very first pilot year of the online drawing development year. And what we'd like to do tonight is give you as much information as we can about the online drawing development year to give you a sense of its structure, how it functions, how it works, how you can apply. And Amy will also be talking about her experience as a student on the course. So the course has been in existence for the past 4 years, and like many courses, was born out of the change to online teaching that happened in 2020 around the time of the pandemic. And we began teaching online at the school during the pandemic, and I'm very pleased to say that we continue to teach online to this day. And it's a program that has grown in strength and breadth for the past few years. And we're really pleased and delighted by what the online drawing development year has become. So some of you may be watching are familiar with courses at the Royal Drawing School. You may have joined us in person in the school or online before. So some of you will have a sense of who we are and what we do. For others, this might be your first time interacting with us. So what we're going to do tonight is show you a short presentation that will outline all of the information you need to know about the course. And then at the end, we'll have time for some questions if any of you do have them. What I should also say is that we also have most of the information that we're giving you this evening available on our website. So if you do miss anything tonight and you want to go back and refresh your memories or find out more about applying, then please do visit our website, which is royaldrawing.school.org. So, for some context about the school, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. The Royal Drawing School was founded in the year 2000 by Catherine Goodman, our artistic director, and with the support of the then Prince of Wales, now the King, His Majesty King Charles III. And the school was founded at a time when drawing from observation and life rooms were beginning to close. The rise of the YBAs and conceptual art was the real buzz at the time. And it was felt that unless someone did something to preserve the rich history and tradition of teaching of drawing from observation, that it was at risk of disappearing completely. And from quite humble beginnings, the school has now grown to have our postgraduate program, the drawing year, as well as a wide range of fantastic public courses that run in-house around London and at the school itself. We also teach young people between the ages of 10 and 18 how to draw. So fantastic growth over the past 25 years. And as I said, like many institutions during the pandemic, we quickly transitioned to support online teaching as well to enable our community to continue learning during the pandemic. And all we did to transition to online teaching was take our existing model, the fantastic courses that we already ran, and move them into an online format taught by the same tutors in the same way. And our online program has continued to flourish and thrive. And it's that online program that we use to build the online drawing development year that we're going to talk to you about this evening. So I'm just going to share my screen with you, and the slides that I show will give you some visuals and some points to make notes from. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the structure of the course, why it exists and how it functions, as well as how you can apply before we hand over to Amy, who will talk about what it's like to actually be a student. So what is the online drawing development year, the ODDI for short? We were conscious as soon as we started to teach online that there was a real opportunity for us to put together a very in-depth, long-form course that would provide really high quality live drawing tuition and also enable us to reach an ever-growing community of artists and art graduates who craved some support, but perhaps couldn't get to London or attend in-person courses. And that's really how the Oddie came into being. We wanted to take the best parts, the best elements of many of the courses and programs that we'd already developed and adapt them and move them into a very accessible, very flexible online format. So the Oddie is aimed at arts graduates and practicing artists who perhaps have a studio practice that they've wanted to develop but are missing maybe the contextual side of teaching or being in a community or getting feedback. Um, Also to offer a place where people can access really high quality live online tuition and structured feedback on their work. So a place to, sure, get feedback, but also to learn to draw, to have sustained engagement with tutors and as part of a community. And a place where people can balance their studio practice and their work, but also their lives, whether that's working part-time, whether it's raising a family, whether it's care needs, to be a course that is flexible and that can fit in around your existing life, wherever that life is, whether it's in the UK or further afield. So let's look at the key facts. So we're going to talk to you about the course tonight, and the course and the application for the course is for a course that begins in January next year. So the online drawing development year is a course that runs during a full calendar year. So in this instance, it begins in January 2026 and it ends in December 2026. And for that January start date, the application deadline is the 17th of September this year. So a couple of months away, 17th of December 2025. And the fees for the full year are £3,980, and those fees can be broken down into instalments. And the delivery is via live tuition, which takes place using Zoom, and it can be accessed globally. And what I would just say is that we run to a GMT schedule, and that means if you are living outside of the UK, you do just need to be conscious that you're accessing live tuition. It's not pre-recorded, and that does mean that it might be an early or a late start for you, depending upon whereabouts in the world you are. But lots of people on our course make that work fantastically. So it shouldn't exclude you if you don't want it to. So let's talk about the structure of the program, how it's broken down. So it's a full year, and that full year is broken down into 3 full terms of 10 weeks each. So a spring term, a summer term, and an autumn term. During each of those terms, we invite you as students on the course to sign up to a curriculum of online teaching and to select a curriculum that works for you from the wide range of different online courses that we run here at the school. And some of you might already be familiar with those courses, but if not, I'll run you through the curriculum in a few slides' time. So you sign up to around 18 hours of drawing classes per week, and that can be a mix of full daytime courses or evening courses. As I said, they're all taught live by members of our faculty, all of whom are practicing artists. So they're not employed by the school, they're independent freelance tutors. They all have an artistic practice and they come and share that experience and that teaching knowledge with us through our courses. And the same tutors that teach our in-person courses teach our online courses. We don't have a separate faculty. They're all taught by the same group of people. So the core of the offering is this live tuition, this access to these amazing courses. And then around that, we build a really solid framework of support. And that looks like evening sessions and core sessions with special tutors. It's tutorials and it's mentoring and it's crits. So in addition to the live courses that you sign up for, you each have assigned a core tutor who will work with you for the duration of the year. And those core tutors do two things. They teach a range of specialist sessions with the group, which are just for members of the cohort to come together and exchange ideas and to tackle new subjects outside of the regular courses that you take. And those core tutors also deliver mentoring sessions. And those mentoring sessions are really important because they're a chance to have a direct engagement with a tutor throughout the year. We also have a wide-ranging lecture series, so online talks featuring artists, curators, art historians that you have access to online as a student. We have a professional development series which runs in the final term of the course. And we recognise that whilst there's great benefit from the intensity of the study that you do with us, we also have an obligation to prepare you for the next stages of your artistic practice, whatever they may be. So our professional development series is designed to introduce you to industry experts, to creatives and people working in the creative industries, to really bring you up to speed with what's happening and how you can make every success of your own practice when you graduate. We also have a digital drawing studio, a high quality broadcast hub that you have access to as a student. And finally, the chance to come physically to the school in London for a couple of days of live in-person teaching at the end of the course. So a huge range of things there, but essentially the bread and butter of the course is this amazing online tuition. And then there's this network of support built around the tuition that is designed to push you as an individual in your own practice. So the weekly structure looks something like this. So you, as I said, curate your own program of courses. Every term we send you a PDF which has all of the various online courses to choose from. And you then select a range of daytime and evening courses. And they typically add up to about 18 hours of tuition per week. And that might look like 2 full days and 2 evenings, or 3 full days, or 1 full day and a few evenings. It's really down to you how you build your curriculum for the term. And those courses then run for a 10-week block during the term. And Amy will talk a little bit about course selection and the courses that she enjoyed in a short while. But as I said, one of the aims of this course is to be flexible and for it to be a course that can work around your needs, your life, and therefore we give you the option to choose those courses that appeal most to you. The courses are taught live over Zoom, a platform that most people are now familiar with. And they're supported by something called Padlet. And Padlet is, in essence, an online notice board, a place where each course will have information and facts, a place where at the end of the day you can share and upload images of the work that you've made, and also a place where you can have your own personal portfolio. So when you have your tutorials or mentoring sessions, you can share work that you've been making, and that Padlet serves as a fascinating record of your development on the year, a chance to look back over the course of a term or 2 terms at the progress you're making and how your work is changing. So our curriculum at the Royal Drawing School is broken down broadly into the following areas. So drawing in the studio, the first one here, um, encompasses the elements of life drawing that you're perhaps familiar with if you've been to a life class. And all of these courses, all of these modules have been adapted to suit our online learning. So you might think, how does life drawing work at home? Well, we work with a range of really fantastic models, all of whom are very experienced at working online and have their own camera setups in their own homes and studios. So you can work from a model at home, broadcast over Zoom, and actually, there are benefits to working online that you don't have in person. So, for example, if you're doing a portrait class, you can zoom in to see the full head filling your screen. If you're doing a life drawing class, you can move the camera so you get a different viewpoint that you wouldn't normally be able to get in a life drawing studio. Or in an anatomy class, you can zoom in detail onto the model's hands or feet, all those tricky parts that we tend to avoid. You can get in full detail on the screen to enable you to really study them. So lots of our courses work around the principles of life drawing and working directly from observation with a model. And then drawing from art sees us exploiting the fantastic range of resources available to us online in the forms of collections, galleries, and museums. One of the great things that happened during the pandemic is many of the world's leading institutions really updated their online offering, and it now means that you can access a range of incredible institutions in the UK, but also globally. So you can go to the National Gallery, you can go to the Museum of Modern Art, and you can look at paintings in extraordinary high resolution and really study them. So our drawing from art courses have tutors who will introduce you to art history and to a range of different institutions that you can navigate and explore online from the comfort of your own home. And then drawing our environment might mean exploring the interior world. It might mean exploring your home or your family who might sit for you at home. It might mean drawing in your garden or visiting a local park to make work. And I should stress that although the teaching takes place online and it's live, you're not chained to your laptop. A lot of our courses factor in time away from the screen. You'll be encouraged to go outside. You'll be encouraged to work independently away from the screen to get, all important breaks from the screen and maybe working outside. And then drawing an imagination. I mean, drawing and imagination can't really be separated. The very act of drawing is also an act of imagination. But certain courses that we run really pull on the imaginative threads. So you might start a class like drawing a story, where you begin with a poem or a piece of text or a piece of music even, and work collectively from that. You might be working with memory and imagination or animation. So imagination really is woven into a great many of the courses that we do. You might be working um, with a tutor on a graphic novel or looking at how text and imagery can coexist. So lots of interesting imaginative avenues that can be explored. Printmaking too. Now you might again think, well, how do you printmake at home? But we've run and adapted a wide range of our printmaking courses to be accessible at home, using a wide range of everyday items to actually make the prints or to make inks. So you might be making prints using coffee or inks made from avocado stones or crushed fruit, a whole range of different everyday materials that have surprising and incredible effects when put to use in different ways. And one of the things that we've heard since beginning the course is just how important a sense of community is. And I think that's one thing that really people miss if they're working independently or they've had a career break or are trying to sustain and nurture a creative practice, but are doing it single-handedly alone. It's that community often that is the thing that's missing. And we really feel that by being part of a cohort and a close-knit cohort at that, that you really get that strength of critical dialogue and feedback. So across the year, you're broken down into tutor groups, and these are maximum 20 students. And each tutor group is assigned a core tutor who works with you throughout the year. So core sessions are intimate, they're with a small group, and you're able to really get to know your core tutor group really well. And that group can give you feedback, they can be a sounding board, a creative space to share ideas. And as I said, those core tutors are there to push you and to develop your practice through mentoring, tutorials, and through leading core sessions. You'll also have group crits that take place within the cohort and within your core tutor groups, and they're a chance to feed ideas off one another and to get to know your cohort. And you can also share your work via the online galleries and Padlet notice boards. And there's a nice opportunity, as I said, at the end of the year to come together in person at the school. And on that note, I'm going to hand over to Amy, who's going to talk a little bit about her experience as a student on the year and what it's actually like to study on the course. So I'll hand over to you, Amy, for the next part.
Thank you. Um, so, hello everyone. I studied on the ODI in 2021, and it was the first year that that the course was run. Um, so, I was going to tell you a bit about my experience, a bit about before I started the ODI, during my time on it, and what I've been doing after it. So before I started on the RD, I had studied at university, and I'd studied illustration, and I'd come out really confused about my work. I felt like I had missed the traditional elements of art school that I'd really been hoping for. And instead of them being offered as part of my course, I was having to search them out outside of university. And I wanted to apply to the drawing year in my graduating year, but knew that even if I had been accepted, it would have been really unlikely that I could attend. I live on the South Coast, and although there's a direct train to London, a door-to-door commute would have been over 3 hours one way. And my whole life is based down where I live, and logistically moving to London would have been almost impossible. I also have chronic health conditions that have got worse over the last few years. And distance learning meant that I could take care of myself, go to my doctor's appointments, hospital appointments, and still have the education that I really wanted. And I had 2 operations while doing the online drawing development year, and was still able to continue working from home and learning in a way that suited me while recovering. And it's that flexibility that I think really highlights how good this course is for people who need that sort of flexibility in their life. And so on the ODI, the wide variety of courses that you're able to pick from really means that you are able to vary your focus between classes that lean into your specialisms, or ones that push you out of your comfort zone. And having that ability to tailor the experience to what you need each term is really difficult to find in other online programs, while still receiving a really high quality of teaching. And having a year to focus on progressing your methodology really allows you to have these clear turning points. And the tutors will be able to encourage you to work in different ways, whether, like the picture you see on the screen, you're using old work or sketches to make new pieces, drawing from your art, deconstructing and then reconstructing something. And through doing the Oddie, my whole method of working has changed, has become much more cyclical and transformative, something I don't think really would have happened if I hadn't really pushed myself on some of the courses that were available. And all these new processes that I learned really allowed me to get over that fear of the blank page that I think everyone understands. I don't feel like I need to come to the paper or canvas with a fully formed idea. Instead, I've learned that the process is really part of the pieces that I make and the ongoing transformations of my work. Take away the pressure to create that I think for a lot of people can really start to creep into their work. And one of the parts of the course that I found most beneficial for me was the core sessions that first of all allow you to get to know the tutors a lot better and the others in your cohort. But recognizing those turning points that I was talking about came to me in those sessions, and it meant that I was then able to put those into practice in my other classes. And one of the key things that I found really important about the year was being able to work in my own space and take away that pressure of the kind of the fear of comparison that I definitely struggled with at university. And it meant that I was able to make work without the worry of what the person next to me thought, but was still able to receive feedback from my peers and the tutors and have that really important discussion with people once the work had been done. And I found in that way, the course felt more reflective of real life, where you're working in your studio as an artist alone, but you are provided with a community of fellow artists who are also experiencing similar things with shifting their work and going through kind of new processes that might feel a bit uncomfortable. But it felt like it was something that I would then be able to take forward once the course had finished, which I think is always one of those tricky parts of being in education, where the environment can feel like, I don't know how I'm going to replicate this once I leave this environment. And having that balance of working and making art and living your normal life, whatever that might be, and still pushing yourself artistically, I found really useful to be able to continue after the course had finished. So we were really lucky in our at the end of our year to get a space in London to exhibit some final works, and that exhibition meant that we were able to come together as a group. People further abroad were able to post their work in, and then they flew over for the exhibition itself. But we were able to mark the year together, even though we were spread out all over the place. And that was a really wonderful experience to be able to have that moment where we really celebrated everything that we'd done together, and the bonds we'd formed as a community. And it shows that the people you meet really will be invaluable to both your artistic practice and your personal life. And you get to discover a whole new community of creatives who can support you, and in return, you can do the same. And I think this makes such a huge difference to the experience, and from other online courses where you really get to feel that community of people around you in a way that I think can be quite different if you're not doing live lessons and having those mentoring sessions and tutoring sessions. So post Oddie, I have had my work exhibited with the Royal Watercolour Society, Glyndebourne Opera House, and was shortlisted for the Waverton Art Prize last year, whilst having work purchased for private collections. And I also got to go on the residency at Dumfries House through the Royal Drawing School, which Fraser will talk about in a little bit. And that was an amazing experience. But I've also just really gained confidence in my work and abilities. And the course opened up pathways that I thought may have been close to me after my degree, providing me with a broad yet really accomplished portfolio of work that allowed me to apply to an MA course. And then following on from my MA course, I've now been successful in receiving a fully funded PhD place in contemporary art. And all these opportunities, whilst have been hard work and challenging and have obviously had other things feeding into them, I've been able to achieve because of what I did with that year with the Royal Drawing School. And there were methodologies and processes that I learned with the Royal Drawing School that have allowed me to continue pushing my work well after the course ended. So I'd say if there's anything putting you off about applying, whether that's working from home in your own space on your own or missing out on that in-person experience, it really is an investment in your practice. And our cohort managed to get together and meet and go to galleries, and we continue our online sessions kind of every month, doing an online drawing evening together. And we support each other. We go to our exhibitions and keep in touch. And I think it shows that even though you may not be meeting up in person all the time like an in-person course may do, I think there's a real benefit to really having a wide and broad network of people who can continue to support each other. And I've seen the achievements that so many people have made from this course over the years it's been running, and being able to see the progress in people's work across the year has been really overwhelming. And it's an amazing opportunity to access quality teaching online that I think would normally only be accessible to those in London, but you get to do it within your own space. And I think that is such a unusual kind of feature to this course.
Thank you so much, Amy, and yeah, wonderful hearing about your journey as a student, and seeing it when you were with us. And I think it does bring to mind the real sense of community that exists on the year, and we try and nurture when you're with us. And subsequent years have had similar things, and it's just so lovely that you're all still meeting up and drawing together and sharing ideas. So just before we finish, a few final slides from us, and then we'll take some questions. But just say there are a few continuing opportunities when you do graduate. So we offer all graduates of the course 50% off our online short courses in the future. So you can sort of continue drawing with us if you want to. And you're also able to apply for an artist residency through the school at a place called Dumfries House in Scotland, which Amy just mentioned is a really fantastic, beautiful part of Scotland with custom-built artist studios where you can go and make work and read and write and do whatever you need to do, and get that all-important creative freedom that is often hard to come by when you're an artist. So great opportunity there. And we also encourage each year group to get together at the end of the course to put on an exhibition. And again, Amy was just talking about her cohorts, and different groups have exhibited in different venues around London. Last year, the group were able to have an exhibition at the school itself. And it's a fantastic chance to celebrate the work that's been made during the course and to come together and show that work to a wider audience. And you also have a connection then with our sort of wider school network. So how to apply? Hopefully all this has sounded okay and you might be thinking about applying. Um, so eligibility, well, many people applying have perhaps done a BA in a creative subject at some point, even if that was a long time ago. But that's absolutely not required. There are no requirements to have a BA at all. We're mainly looking to see a kind of strong portfolio, a strong sense of readiness to take on and commit to what is quite an intense course. That's the main thing I think to say, really. Whatever your creative practice, whatever it is that you do or are doing at the moment, you just need to be in a position of readiness and willing to engage with the course and to be able to demonstrate that it would really help you move your art practice forwards. So all of the applications are done online. So if you navigate to our website to the online drawing development year pages, you'll see a link to the application portal, which is hosted by an application portal called Slide Room. Some of you might have used it before. And we ask you to submit a short statement, and that statement just really needs to tell us about your practice, what you're doing now, why you want to do the course, and why it would benefit you. It doesn't need to be a really lofty, verbose artist statement dissecting your practice. Just tell us what you're doing and why you want to do the course. And then the portfolio side, we asked for 20 digital images. So 10 of those should be drawings. Uh, Now, what constitutes a drawing? Well, typically we see a drawing as something done in dry media, ink, or watercolor, or it could be printmaking. Or perhaps another way of thinking about it may be something that has been made on paper, rather than canvas or wood. And then 10 additional works. And those additional works can be anything, any medium. So it might be painting, it might be sculpture, it might be shots of an installation you've done, it might be writing or animation or a brief from your creative practice or your illustration practice or your design practice, whatever. Something that gives us some context to your creative ambitions to date. And the application fee to apply is $20. Okay. As I said, the application deadline is the 17th of September. So it's sort of 6 or 7 weeks away, but coming around fast. So it's a good chance now, if you are thinking of applying, to begin thinking about what you might want to include, to photograph your works and make sure that those images are really good quality and clear and legible, and to start writing your statement. And you can save your application as you're going along online, so you don't have to do it all in one go. So following the application deadline, all of the applications are reviewed by a panel of practicing artists. There are no interviews or sketchbooks required. So we review solely on the digital application that's submitted. And then we aim to notify successful applicants within 1 month of the deadline. And from several hundred applicants, we normally land at a cohort of around 60 people in total. And then those 60 are split into 3 core tutor groups. And then just on the final slide, a little bit of information. So if you've got any more questions, you can email us online drawing development at royaldrawing.school.org. Or if you want to explore the course further, student stories and FAQs, you can visit our website at royaldrawingschool.org/ODDI. And there's the option there to sign up for updates from the school if you want more information about the applications and the courses and other opportunities that are coming up. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. But we do have a bit of time for some questions. So if there is anything we've missed or you want to know, now is a good time to ask. No question too silly. And you can do that either by typing in the chat box or the Q&A box, and you'll find those at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And there are some questions already I can see in the Q&A box. So I will jump to some of those, and we'll do our best to answer them. Um, so is first question, is attendance at the classes mandatory? You've got an uncertain work schedule. Um, it wouldn't disqualify you. I mean, I think that the main thing to say is that we've designed this course to be flexible, um, and to work around your schedule. So we we'll do our best to work with you when it comes to choosing and selecting your courses. Now, I think if you weren't able to attend any of the live talk courses, you'd miss a very important aspect of what the course is. Yes, there are tutorials and mentoring, but I think, the benefit is this engaged live online tuition, and that's really transformative. And I think it's very important to absorb and soak up as much of that tuition as you can. But obviously things happen if you need to miss a course here and there, or you can't make something because of work or family or health commitments. That's fine. We're not going to kind of badger you and chuck you off the course if you miss some things. But I think equally, there's an expectation on our part that you'll be engaging with the live tuition as much as the tutorials and mentoring. So I think it's a balance, and we can try and find the balance that fits for you. But those live classes are a really important part of the course. Um, and then the scheduling of classes. So the balance of daytime and evening classes. So the maximum you can sign up to is 3 full daytime courses. Some people do that. But otherwise, you can find a balance of daytime and evening courses to suit you. And that really can be flexible, but it might look like 2 full days and one evening, or it might look like 1 full day and then 3 evenings or 4 evenings. Amy, I suspect you had a bit of a balance, did you? And it probably changes throughout the year too.
Yeah, I think um, there was one time where I did 3 full day courses, and then just because of the courses that were on offer, that changed the following term to include 2 evening and 2 day courses. And it was similar for the last term, but I know that there were some people who kind of really mixed it up throughout the year, and some who did 3 full day courses for the whole time, because that's what suits them better for kind of having children around and bedtime and things like that. So yeah, it is really flexible, it and again, it means you can sort of decide. From when I started, I knew that I would be working Wednesdays and Thursdays, so I would sort of just cross those days off on the course planner as such, and so I could then go, well, what's around that I want to pick. So it allows you to kind of do that as well. So yeah, it is really flexible, and some of the courses that are day courses also have like an evening alternative as well. So there's some crossover between the two. So it means if you can't do one, there's likely to be something that's quite similar in the other.
Mm. And just based on some of the questions, just to clarify how the um, courses work, you are sent before each term a PDF of available courses. There are more courses than you can actually do, so you do have to select. Um, and then you pick your timetable for that term. So you will go, I don't know, on Mondays I'm going to do life drawing, on Thursdays I'm going to do drawing a story, on Tuesday evening I'm going to do printmaking. And those courses are then your courses for that block of 10 weeks for the whole term. And then you do the same again for the next term and the third term. So even if there are courses that you're not able to do in one term, you can sign up for them in the next term. So over the course of a year, you pretty much do everything that you might want to do, and through talking to your tutors and other students, you get a sense of what courses they're enjoying, and you can try different things and sort of pick and choose. And although the blocks of 10 weeks, the terms themselves are quite intense, it's worth saying that you also get quite big breaks between the terms. So the Easter break is over 4 weeks, the summer break is nearly 2 months. So there are times when you are working quite intensively, but then you get big breaks between the terms. Okay. And just to reiterate, Mary Lou, your question about flexibility. Yeah, things happen. You miss courses sometimes, so you might need to take a break. But that's fine from our end. We try and work with you to understand what you need. Um, there's no formal qualification at the end of the course. Just worth saying. One of the questions was about that. We're the whole Royal Drawing School. We're not an accredited institution. So we don't offer any formal qualifications. Um, what we do offer is a really incredible experience and tons of very useful experience that will hopefully put you in a very good position for your professional practice going forwards. Um, there are some classes on a Saturday. Someone asked about weekend courses. Um, so yeah, there are some Saturday courses if that works better for you. Um, A question about the difference between the Oddie and the 3 month drawing intensive. Well, yeah, the drawing intensive is a similar model to the online drawing development year. It's a term of live tuition in which you get some tutorials on the side. Um, so it's similar in that respect, but I think the benefit of the full year, of course, is that you build an ongoing relationship not only with your cohort but also with your core tutors and your mentors, and there's much more of a focus on your individual personal development and your practice growing over the course of that year. Um, okay, let me just see if there's any in the chat. Uh, the payment installments, someone asking about the installments, we asked you to make a payment before starting the course, and then the other payments are due generally sort of February and March time. So the sort of they're made at the beginning of the course, but they are broken up as much as possible. Uh, uh, I think that answers most of the questions we've had. Sorry if we missed you or not quite answered it, but please do get in touch with the school if you have any further questions or there's anything that you want to know. As I said, the deadline's the 17th of September. So, um, coming up, but plenty of time to get a portfolio together. I saw a last question just come in about whether that should be a broad portfolio or not. I think what's most important with putting your portfolio together is to show us kind of what you're doing now and what's important to you and what your practice is really about. Give us a sense of who you are and what you're interested in rather than trying to sort of just demonstrate technical skill or, lots of life drawings that you made 10 years ago or something. Try and show us who you are now and what sort of work you're making and what you're interested in, I think is the best advice. But otherwise, please go online, have a look at the website. You can find more information there. We've got an FAQs page, or if there's anything you need to know, get in touch with us and we'll get back to you. But hopefully, it's a course that will be a good fit for you wherever you are. A course that will really change your practice and and your life and be flexible and something that you can really develop alongside whatever else it is that you do. So, best of luck if you do decide to apply, and we hope to see some of you at school in the future. And thanks to Amy, and great. Have a good evening or day wherever you are in the world. Thank you.